of the great rabbis of yesteryear. Now, friends, we are on Hebrew date, the 11th of Kislev, marks the Hilula of a really great Italian rabbi. His name was Avraham Eliezer Halevi, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. He was actually born in English year 1758 and passed away, to be precise, on the 21st of November in English year 1825. Naturally, that was Yud Aleph Kislev, the 11th of Kislev. He would go on to be the head of the Jewish court of the Jewish congregation in Triasta in Italy, respectively. He was considered one of the great rabbis of Italy in his generation and was a teacher of the famous Rabbi Lusato, the Shadal, as he is nicknamed in itself, or to be precise, Rabbi Shmuel David Lusato, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, great rabbis of that specific time period in Italy. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. Now, he was born, as we said before, in English year 1758, came from great rabbinic heritage. He was the son of Rabbi Tzvi Halevi and the grandson of Rabbi Netanel Halevi, who I believe happened to be the head of the Jewish court of Adin in Padua and in Modena, respectively. It's actually interesting. I think at one stage in time, Rabbi Tzvi, his father, moved to the land of Israel, and I believe his son Avraham Eliezer was also born in Israel, if I'm not mistaken, or he was around that time period in of itself. While he was young, he would learn Torah under the auspices of the famous Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulay. Really, really great rabbi. We've mentioned about on various occasions before, and many occasions before. And so he learned under very, very great rabbinic auspices. So that has to be pointed out from the outset over there. He was very much admired from there. Later, he would actually learn together with the rabbi of Florence. At that point in time, Florence had a great Torah Jewish community in itself. The rabbi over there happened to be Pirnatza Daniel Tirani, a very, very great rabbi in of itself, in Florence, Rabbi Daniel Tirani, and he was, let's just say, one of the wisest people in Italy of his generation during the 1700s and 1800s, respectively. He was a rabbi of the Jewish community in Florence and was known for his Torah colossal work called the Ikarei Hadat. Very, very great words. Abbreviation is Hey Dalet Tet, to be precise. And very, very much was one of the great poseks of Italy in his generations. Afterwards, he would be appointed, when he grew up, to become Eshada Shluchei Rabbanan by the sages of Tzfat in Israel. And he traveled all throughout the diaspora on various different missions over there. I believe he actually concentrated especially to travel around Italy and in various different German principalities, let's just say, in of itself, different places within regards to that. And he would finally settle in Livorno. Remember, Livorno had a very wondrous Jewish community of yesteryear and a printing house, I think a publishing house, if I'm not mistaken. Then come with the start of the 1800s, the 19th century, I believe to be precise, on January 1800. Rabbi Natan ben Yitzchak Ashkenazi, who I believe happened to be the Av Bet Din, head of the Jewish court at that point in time in Triaste, he passed away. And various different rabbis were offered, I believe, a position at that point in time, but eventually Rabbi Halevi was to take the deceased place, and he agreed and accepted the position over there. And I think he actually received official title with various different authorities. Also, I think he started this position of himself in 1801. He was fluent in Italian, in the language, and was known as a great, let's just say, darshan within regards to this specific language in of itself. And actually, interesting enough, we're going to learn that the famous Rabbi Lusato, as we said before, Rabbi Shmuel David Lusato, would actually learn Gemara for him, I think, on a daily basis when he was at a younger age. So he really was very much, let's just say, had really, really great time with him and imbued many great time with him. Now, it's actually interesting. He would bring about, I believe, his brilliance will actually enact various different laws, just to say, to prevent various different occasions of happening, different scandals potentially happening, it was reported over, which is very interesting enough. And he was, I think, very close with various different great rabbis. We've mentioned about the Chida, or the Rabbi Chaim Yitzchak Musafia. he himself, I think, happened to be from the area of Split in Croatia, very, very great rabbi in Croatia. They had a prominent Jewish community also over there. And this was in, obviously, the old Yugoslavia. He had correspondence with many of the great Ashkenazi rabbanim, including the famous Chatam Sofer, which he was in correspondence with on various different issues, on different topics that they were grappling with in Egypt in itself. So he taught Gemara at the highest level, and it's actually interesting. He would become the rabbi of Rabbi Shmuel David Lusato when he would eventually pass away. I think the Rabbi Shmuel David Lusato would actually compose lamentations upon his death and the poems, let's just say, in the greatness within regards to Rabbi Halevi. He played various different roles all throughout the sphere of halacha and happenings of what was taking place in the Jewish community, in all throughout the, let's just say, the different time periods. He had these prominent positions, especially with regards to the Riv HaHeichal HaRishon. What was that, friends, over here? The Heichal dispute, which was a famous dispute, I believe. I think there was a quarrel, let's just say, in of itself, in the Hamburg synagogue, which happened in that point in time. And I would recommend everyone to research within regards to that. He was part of, this included the Maharam Bennett and the Chatam Sofer in of itself. And he was in constant correspondence, let's just say, within regards to this different issue that was taking place. And he very much, let's just say, in of itself, he really tried to strengthen the Torah community in of itself of the Trieste area. He would travel throughout the country of Italy to strengthen Torah, and I think he would travel to Ragusa also. And he would put different takanot on because he saw that there was, at that point in time, the reform movement was growing all over Europe. So I believe he wanted to prevent it happening in those specific locales. So he was really, let's just say, trying to put more strengthening and forbidding, let's just say, problems that could actually take place within regards to the realms of halacha at that stage in time. It's actually interesting. I think he was grappling with many different issues, and there was a lot of struggles at that point in time. There was a prevalence of modernity, let's just say, an innovation. It was a period of and there was a progressiveness. It was a progressive, like I say, environment, and he had to grapple with all these different issues in Italian Jewry especially, and had to make sure that there wouldn't be the problems that occurred in various other countries all throughout Europe. I believe he was visited by many dignitaries, many, let's just say, very well-known people all throughout Europe. I believe there was an English man of the name, it was well documented over, an Englishman of the name John Varro, I think. He actually visited him, if I'm not mistaken, and they would actually speak together. I think he called Rav Levi very polite. And the rabbi would eventually pass away in English in 1825, and he was buried in Trieste. He had various different she'elot and shuvot books, question and answers books, especially a lot of his correspondence was published in the books of the Chatam Sofer, and among other great rabbanim, including Rabbi Pinsi, and various other great rabbanim also, which we have to actually point out in of itself. I think he was featured in Shut Chatam Sofer, which was a very great Torah book in of itself, and very much learned. And so he passed away, I think it was 67 years of age at the time of passing, on the 21st of November in English, 1825 to be precise. He was a Talmid of the famous Chida. He was a rabbi of Rabbi Lusato, Rabbi Shmuel Lusato, and one of the great rabbis of his generation in Italy, and very well and traveled and very well respected all throughout the Torah world in of itself. So friends, we've already covered about 50 rabbis from Italy inside this series over here. We're a community learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. Please, everyone, like the video, share the videos. If you happen to be related to any of these great rabbanim, please send me an email. I'd love to hear more, and wishing all a great day.